The trade war election is officially underway.
There is so much more to do to secure Canada, to invest in Canada, to build Canada.
After going to the Governor General to trigger the election, Liberal leader Mark Carney pointed to the tariffs and annexation threats coming from U.S. President Donald Trump as reasons why he needs a strong mandate.
President Trump claims that Canada isn't a real country. He wants to break us so America can own us. We will not let that happen.
The former central banker says he has the experience to steer the country through an economic crisis. He helped Canada manage the Great Recession, and he can do it again.
I know we need change. Big change. Positive change.
And he's leaning on some homegrown star power to get his patriotic message out.
Will there always be a Canada?
There will always be a Canada.
All right, elbows up.
Elbows up.
Carney's pledge comes as Trump says he's dead serious about annexation. The president is promising even more tariffs on April 2nd.
When I say they should be a state, I mean that.
Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre says he won't bend to the U.S. administration, pointing out even Trump himself says he prefers to deal with a liberal.
Our nation is more divided than ever before because the liberal, radical, post-national, borderless, and globalist ideology has weakened our nation.
Poilievre says the Liberals don't deserve another term. It's time for change at the top.
It's the same old Liberal MPs, the same Liberal ministers, the same Liberal advisors, the same Liberal elites, the same broken Liberal promises of the last 10 years. We cannot afford another lost Liberal decade. We need to put Canada first for a change.
With the poll suggesting the NDP is in a distant third place, some progressives are parking their vote with the Liberals instead. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh is urging them to stick with the party.
Only New Democrats can be trusted to look out for you.
This will be the shortest campaign allowed by law, just 37 days in total. Election day is April 28th, and polls suggest it's going to be a tight one. JP Tasker, CBC News, Ottawa.
Now, on this first day of official campaigning, our reporters are fanning out to cover the main party leaders and to keep you informed.
I'm Ashley Burke in St. John's, Newfoundland with the Liberals campaign. Mark Carney is riding high in the polls here in Atlantic Canada, but about 50 protesters tried to disrupt his first rally. Police asked them to move outside and lock the door. Carney acknowledged them off the top of his speech and said he's here to listen. Then he tried to position himself as the best option to take on Donald Trump, and he got a big round of applause here when he tried to liken Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre to the U.S. president. But one of the biggest challenges Carney faces is differentiating himself from the Trudeau government. Carney said the proof that he's different is in the action that he's taken since becoming Prime Minister just over a week ago. And he has now proposed a 1% cut to the lowest tax bracket, saying it would put $825 back in the pockets of those families.
I'm Kate McKenna covering the Conservatives, and I'm at a rally in North York where they're actually turning people away because so many people came. It's unclear how many people are here in total, but it's well over 1,000. More than 200 were turned away. Some were given T-shirts. And this is in the Toronto area, which is a Liberal hub of support. Now, this is the momentum that Conservatives are hoping to get after dipping slightly in the polls, and it's momentum that they're hoping to continue to have throughout the weeks ahead.
I'm Rafi Boudjikanian in Montreal with the Bloc Québécois, where leader Yves-François Blanchet has just met with comedians at this awards gala. But his party's electoral fortunes are no laughing matter. With Justin Trudeau's resignation, the Bloc has lost its lead in Quebec to the Liberals. Blanchet says he'll address the U.S. trade war by focusing on specific economic threats to Quebecers, such as those employed in the dairy or aluminum sectors. He'll also talk up how Quebecers do not accept pipelines, even as Conservatives and Liberals speak of national energy corridors. One clear advantage for Blanchet over Mark Carney is his fluency in French, very important in French language debates, though this year there may only be one of those.
I'm Marina von Stackelberg in Montreal with the NDP campaign, where leader Jagmeet Singh is entering his third election as the longest-serving party leader. So how does he show voters he's offering them something different? The slogan for this campaign is one they've used before, "In it for you." Singh says the New Democrats will protect and fight for everyday people impacted by Donald Trump's tariffs, but they could be in for their own battle. Recent polling suggests the New Democrats could be at risk of losing many of their seats. Conservatives have been targeting working-class voters, and progressives may be returning to the Liberals. Still, the NDP say they have more money raised and are better prepared than they have been in a decade. And Singh is a seasoned campaigner.
So let's turn to our chief political correspondent, Rosemary Barton. So, Rosie, what struck you about the campaign launches on day one?
Adrienne, let's start with the two parties who have the best chance of forming government. The Liberal leader, Mark Carney, is going to talk a lot about action over this campaign. The action he can point to so far is what he did over his first 9 days as Prime Minister. If his biggest challenge is to demonstrate change under the same Liberal banner, he's already got examples of substantive changes, killing the carbon tax and the capital gains inclusion rate. He also dropped a major policy on day one, that broad-based middle-class tax cut. That was unusual and bold. It also puts a squeeze on Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, who has promised his own tax cut to come. Poilievre tried really hard to frame the campaign about what he's wanted it to be about for so long, the cost of living and change. So he talked about that lost Liberal decade, how in the face of Donald Trump, Canadians can't afford another Liberal mandate. But a lot of Poilievre's solutions are the same as what he was offering before Trump. So he has to convince Canadians this is about those Conservative brand solutions rather than just a question of leadership, which would be a harder fight for Poilievre.
Then when you think about the NDP and the Bloc, what do you make of their start?
So both of them really, Adrienne, trying to get into the conversation, both struggling in the polls. Jagmeet Singh didn't really offer much policy solutions, but he's trying to say that he's the defender of working Canadians and make this a conversation about class. And Bloc leader Yves-François Blanchet suggesting that no one could defend Quebec better than him when it comes to the threats of the U.S. president. But it is harder for parties that have not or cannot form government when the stakes are so high. So we'll see how those messages adapt over the course of the election.
All right. Thanks, Rosie.